Hi, I'm Chris Harford with iTrees.com, and here at iTrees.com we specialize in large caliper 2 to 4 inch bald and burlap trees, ornamental, shade and evergreen trees, and we specialize in delivery and installation right in homeowners' yards. Today we're out on a job site in a homeowner's yard and we're going to be planting some trees in the backyard. But before we go back there to check that out, I want to show you our machine, because a lot of people always have questions about how we move the trees and how we dig the holes. This is a Toro Dingo. It's a small track machine that we use to carry trees in and out, and also to dig a hole with this auger, and then also we finish the hole out by hand. As you can see, it's narrow, so we can get through almost any gate. It's turf friendly because it's small and light. Let's head back into the backyard and we'll check out some trees that we're planting back there. Alright, so we're in the backyard now, and one of the problems the customer was complaining about is the sun on the backyard here. It was very, very open. There's no trees back here, and they just have a lot of sun and heat on this patio. So one of the things we suggested to provide a little bit of shade was planting this. This is a 3-inch autumn blaze maple, and this is just a really fast growing, just a great tree. It's going to fill this whole area in and provide some pretty quick shade for their patio. Now it's late fall now, so it's starting to lose some leaves. But you know, this is a fast grower and it's definitely going to be pretty large. Over on the other side of the yard here, the customers really wanted another maple or something big, but they wanted a little bit of color year-round. So they went with a royal red Norway maple. This is a little slower growing than some of the other maples, but it's one of the only ones that has a lot of color throughout the entire year. They have a deep purple foliage color, and they're extremely tough, just a really great tree. Right now we're going to be planting one more tree over here, which we're going to show you a little bit about how our planting process works. This is a State Street maple, and it's a new variety, or newly popular variety of maple that has not only been really popular for us, but it's also one of our highest recommended trees. It's got a really cool rough bark, a different kind of maple leaf, and they kind of stay in that medium shade tree size, so it's great for, you know, homeowners' yards. It's just a really tough, fast growing, cool maple, something a little bit different. The really bright gold fall color. As you can see, when we move the trees in, we make sure to tie them up. We tarp them on the truck. That way it helps protect the foliage while we're getting them out to your yard. And what we'll do is we'll bring them in your yard, set them down, and then we'll go ahead and get started planting them. So I'm going to cut away here, and in a little bit we'll show you the tree in some different stages of planting. Okay, so we're going to get started digging this hole. Usually we would use our Toro machine that you saw earlier to go ahead and dig the primary hole, and then we'd finish it out by hand. But today it was a little bit wet, so we ended up just doing this one by hand. Like I said, we can get a tree in pretty much any conditions in any place. So today we're going to do this one by hand. Okay, so as you can see, we've been digging a little bit here. I just wanted to quickly tell you that we take away all the dirt and sod unless you want it. So that's included with our service. We'll haul that away so we don't have to pile it somewhere. You don't have to deal with it down the road. One thing that's a little unique that we do with our trees, other than the fact that everything we sell and install is locally grown, and it comes from really high quality producers, is that every tree that we send out, we treat the foliage with a product that helps the tree with transplant stress. And why it does that is because when you dig a tree, like all these have to be dug and transplanted into your yard, you're cutting a lot of the root system. So that tree for several years is having to overcome that transplant shock to put out a new root system. Well, one thing that can tend to happen is that the leaves can transpirate or evaporate moisture faster than the tree roots can replace that. So we use a product that coats these leaves with a waxy material and prevents the tree from losing that moisture through the leaves. This helps lessen the shock on the tree and helps it put more energy into root growth. Alright, so our next step here is David's going to measure the depth of the hole and make sure we got it at the proper depth. How's it look?
Looks good.
Okay, perfect. So the reason why he's doing that is because, you know, we want to make sure that the most important thing is that the hole is dug to the proper depth. A lot of times people plant trees too deep, and this actually is one of the worst things you can do for a tree. It might, the tree's just going to struggle and eventually it's going to die. So you actually want to plant them a little bit above grade. That way they'll settle a little bit, but also you want to make sure and keep the root flare and the surface roots where they should be in the ground.
Trying my patience, try pink carnations, red roses, and yellow daffodils.
Okay, so the next step is to put it in the hole.
Don't forget the flowers someday, I know you will.
All right, now what the guys are gonna do is make sure we get the tree situated in the hole so it's straight. Typically we don't recommend staking trees because what happens is the trees kind of become dependent on the stakes and they don't grow the roots they should. Usually they're big enough and heavy enough that that's not a problem. So we're gonna go ahead and get it straight, and then we're gonna start backfilling and get the burlap cut off the top of the root ball. Okay, so we get this question a lot. People are wondering, you know, if you leave the root ball in the basket, in the burlap. The answer is yes. You leave the basket on there, you leave the burlap on the bottom, but what you want to make sure and do, and we always do, or if you're going to plant yourself, you want to cut all the burlap off the top of the root ball, and you want to really make sure that you get all the string and the twine cut.
Displays of affection and all good intentions, why don't you just send me the bill?
All right, so when I was talking about height before, this right here where these roots start to come out from the trunk, that's the root flare, and this is what you want to make sure is right at or just above ground level. You want to make sure these roots have plenty of oxygen available. What we're doing now is just making sure the hole's wide enough, and we're putting in some backfill, and you can see what he's doing there is really packing that dirt down in the ground. The reason why we want to get it really packed in is to make sure this tree is not going to move once it's in the ground. So what we're doing here is just finishing up. We're going to pack in the last of the dirt, make sure to build kind of a little berm with the dirt on the outside of the root ball. That way it helps kind of funnel the water right on top of the root ball. And just raking to clean up the area. We kind of pride ourselves on leaving your yard as close to what it looked like before we came in as we possibly can. We know people don't want to see a lot of mud or dirt laying around, so we try and spend a little extra time cleaning up. One finishing touch that we include with all of our trees is that we go ahead and we mulch around the tree. We use a nice shredded hardwood mulch. And not only does it make the tree look nicer, but it's really important to keep that root ball covered and insulated with that mulch. It'll help keep moisture in and keep the cold weather out in the winter. So we're all done back here now, and doesn't this State Street, it looks great. You can see why this is one of our favorite trees. Even under stress, you know, they keep a really nice foliage and they grow fast. And as you can see, we've pretty much transformed this, what was an empty backyard. Now they're gonna have some color, they're gonna have some shade. They're gonna have a real good head start on making a really nice home for the future. I can't wait to see what the homeowners say when we come back. I'm gonna try to get back out here and talk with them a little bit and see their reaction. But as you can see also, we are done in here, and you can barely tell we were over here. And that's kind of our main thing. We want to make it easy. That's the whole point of our service, is to provide an easy way for homeowners to find trees, whether it be one tree or 20 trees. You know, we can take care of it, and we're knowledgeable, and we do a really nice job. Some of the benefits they're going to get from these trees is as they grow up a little bit, and even a little bit immediately, they're going to get tons of shade on this house. That's going to cut down on their heating and cooling bills. It's going to cut down on wind. They're going to cut down on noise from the neighborhood. They're going to get a little privacy added. from their neighbors. And you know, trees are just a great thing, and we really love them. Most of our customers really love them, so we're all about just making it easy for people to get trees in their yard.